What's up folks, now I decided to release another drip video as I normally would with my other drip videos where I talk about different models and ideas that are my own. So I'm gonna leave links to those below talking about drip garden, faucet, taxes, etc. And today's menu is gonna be about price action itself, something that many people are interested about in general when people ask what is the price of drip gonna be like in a year, two, few months, etc. So we're gonna take numbers within our own ecosystem, projections, factoring in future demand, and come up with something that is a bit realistic. Now, without further ado, let's get into this. Alright, first order of business, let's talk about the price, comparing it to its historical run-up. Now again, this is very superficial and the numbers that we're going to be talking about are mainly assumptions based on whatever happened previously. Now what we need to understand is that right now we are at actually the same low that we were at before we ran all the way up to 170 bucks. Then when we reached our all-time high, we were about 50-ish thousand faucet participants. Right now, we have almost tripled that amount of participants and we're at $7. So without really thinking out of the box, if we were to actually have a chance to go back up to these levels, would need again to increase our number of participants inside the faucet drastically. And when I mean drastically, it's going to be at least 3 times what we have today, within the same amount of inflows. And speaking of inflows, we have to look at the total supply itself at 2.158 million right now. It has increased more than 100% because our total fixed supply at Genesis was 1 million. So inflation is running rampant, the tax vault is not keeping up unfortunately, and that happened even after a year of drip not using a single token from Mint, only from the tax vault. So again, factoring it that times 2.15, gearing in the amount of participant that we need, I think if we were to do the same run, we'd reach about 50 to 60 bucks before we correct back down. Alright, so what I looked at previously was basically a mere visual representation of how the chart is and how we were to repeat that price action based on number of participants and based on total supply. So again, total supply is reflected in the circulating supply because it was much less before that previous run up. I think circulating supply was minus 10x of what it is right now. So again, the 50 to 60 bucks is very basic. And it's not even something that I think will happen, to be completely honest. But to look further, so let's look further of how the faucet is happening. Because again, you have to think that with more people coming in drip, means the drip has to pay more tokens and has to pay more money at the end of the day. So yeah, when people enter, people are entering, demand is high, so more money is flowing in. But then at the end of the day, if that doesn't keep up, more money has to come out because it's times 3.65 your deposits, which you can only increase, not only release but increase as well. So with that in mind, looking at the data structure when it comes to faucet obligations as well as drip held in wallets right now, so this information was taken out of June. Again, I'm gonna leave a link to this dashboard below so you can check it out every day and update it. In my proposed tax structure, so when I spoke about the faucet itself, I laid out all of this proposal in details and I also have it linked below with its proper video. But doing an update from the data that I pulled out on the 29th of July, where we had about 27.45 million obligations. Right now we have more than 63% increase in that, and that is in the span of almost 2 months. As compared to how it started from the beginning of and the inception of drip all the way to today, that's a whole lot. So we are approaching about 500,000 tokens in dividends every single day. Of course, not all of this will be claimed, roughly 25%, and I'm going to show you that below real soon. So at some point, if we keep going like this, we will reach 1 million token in dividends minted, perhaps at the beginning of next year, who knows. So the increases and the growth is substantial. And that can also be reflected if you check the July faucet growth versus August at a 45.28 increase, at a 45.28 jump. But the September growth is very equal to the August growth. It's a bit higher, but it's very close. And that's something a bit reassuring, because when the price is not great, it's good that the faucet growth is not really high, because that shows that even with more people coming in or more accounts being created, it's still not enough to offset sell pressure. So the September figures are a bit reassuring in that regard, and it shows because right now here we have the average growth. So the prior average growth before August and September data were added was about 24.88%, and now it's 25.19. So again, the growth, the average growth didn't increase by that much, and that is, in my opinion, the good sign. Now the drip held in wallets, I think then was about 800k or 700 maybe, but now it's more than almost 1.2 million. So that's a lot. And going forward, I'm gonna be taking into consideration how the ratios are right now. So we are like I said, we are in about 1.2 million drip tokens. Now, I assume, and again, this is all assumption, that not most, but a big portion of these drip tokens are gonna be paired with BUSD to enter the animal farm liquidity pool, and mainly the one that rewards you pigs. Now, this is something that has happened when the animal farm launched previously, so V1 when V1 launched, and I assume it's going to be the case with V2, and I took 30% as the basis, again based on whatever happened previously. So we're just repeating historical figures. Now with that out of the way, we're left with 70% that is ever growing, because right now the hydrate ratio is 75% and the claim is about 25%. So 25% of that 448,000 daily dividends, so about north of 100k, is being claimed, and 45% of that is being sold directly to the market. Now if you've been keeping up, if we check the price action of drip for the past perhaps 3 to 4 weeks, it's been keeping up at that level of $7 to $8, so it's fluctuating. It goes down to perhaps 6.7, 6.8, and then it jumps back to 7.3, 7.4, and then it levels out at 7. So price action is pretty much relatively stable. So with that in mind, the assumption here is that the drip demand is being offset by the drip supply almost equally. Now, of course, give or take a few thousand tokens, but because the price action is relatively stable, we can assume so. Now, going forward, without taking into account the inflation itself, because we're gonna have anticipated demand with the animal farm launch, so more drip is gonna get paired up, and also with the fact that scratches is coming up, alongside other things that are going to be added. Now, if we assume that the demand is going to grow by 10% or even 20%, that means that price action is going to go up. But as history has proven, whenever price increases, the claim to hydrate ratio is going to shift. So we're going to be claiming more than we hydrate and assume it's going to level up with the demand. But for a short period of time, demand is gonna be higher than the claim ratio and the sellable ratio. The only factor that is very ad hoc and cannot be determined is how much of that drip held in wallets is gonna be sold as soon as any price uptrend happens. So that cannot be factored in. It could be 2 to 5%, but I think that the short-term demand is gonna be higher than all of these things taken into consideration. And with that in mind, we could see drip rise as high as $15 to $20. However, the thing is, and the sad truth is that even if we reach that, we're gonna get corrected back all the way to $10. And I think if I were to choose a range, a price range is going to be between $7 to $18. And I think we're not going to be moving out of that range anytime soon. And by that, I mean within a few months, even with all that demand coming in. Because if we don't find a way to remove inflation out of the equation, we're going to be stuck in a loop with demand. Because again, I need to remind you that with more demand means more payments have to be done eventually. So if we keep on giving tokens and printing them, at the end of the day, it's gonna lose its value unless we keep recycling the same cycle. So if we remove inflation out of the equation, all of this can be better, and we could actually have a shot at getting back at those 3-digit drip prices. And like I said, I labeled out ideas about how to do so, and I even added one today. So here in this potential structure changes sheet, I actually mentioned 3 ways then, but I added a 4th one today. And the first 2 are a no-go, because you come to realize that changing taxes altogether is not something very favorable, because it just delays the inevitable, even with LMS. So the 3rd option was to actually add pools into the animal farm where you can use drip to farm other tokens. And I really hope that this will happen, because trust me that this will offset a lot of sell pressure, a lot. And I mean, imagine using your drip to get money from elsewhere, and then you can sell that for profits if you choose to, and not sell your drip. So that's the cool part. And you can also use drip to do things inside the animal farm platform, like use it to get high APYs on certain pools and farms. You can use it to get even higher APY in piggy bank and pigpen. You can use drip tokens to create an account, choose an avatar, create a team. Like, so many things, so many cool things can be customized, and drip could be the utility token that can be used in order to do these things. And if you pay out with drip, you can burn that out of the equation. Alright, that's it from me today. Thank you for sticking around and listening to everything I had to say. Now, I really hope I didn't bore you with this video, because again, math is not fun, but unfortunately you have to put it out sometime in order for people to understand where they're at. One thing I wanted to mention actually, because if you look at the behavior of faucets, so deposits, claims, as well as hydrates, you can see the spike here in demand. And if you look at the ratio of demand versus claims, it's about more than 25%. But again, that is demand higher than supply, and that 25% has been short-lived. So we cannot expect a 20% plus buys more than sells and claims, so whatever you want to factor in, for something to be constant. Hence why nobody, and I mean nobody, can put a single price on an asset like drip that rewards people 1% a day. You can only basically put in a price range, and that's the only way you can give a realistic approach. And you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, is it really something that is bothering? Because even if the price remains at 7 to 15 to 18 bucks, whatever it is, even at $7, if you play the game right, if you go for max wallet, you're gonna claim a lot of money at the end of the day. So again, for me, stop chasing these green candles, these huge price spikes, because those are not sustainable and they're gonna be eaten up. But if you find the right range, the right price range to play with and increase your tokens, then you're gonna be a winner at the end of the day. Because if you feel right now that the price is too low for you to take profits, this just means that you don't have enough in your faucet to actually make a dent in profit. So how to tackle this? Just increase your deposits in the faucets and done. So increase the amount of output you have every single day in order for the price of $7 to be worth it for you to sell with. So at least that's my opinion, because I always say that I value stability above price appreciation. And a sub to the channel would be amazing. It really helps us new content creators around the block dish out better value for everyone and expose this word we love the most to more people. So I thank you and appreciate you in advance for doing so. And as always, trade responsibly and take care of your finances. This was Roy with DeFi Ascension. Thanks for watching.